the moment where I was just kind of in awe with this was there was a moment I was in like turn 4 and I was just setting qualifying laps. There's like no aero on the car. And, you know, I've wrecked like 4 times at this point. And I feel like I'm going into turn 4 and I feel the rear end slide. Like I don't feel it in the wheel. I feel it in my ass.
Wow.
Right?
Cool.
Because like you can tell. And I reacted to it quick enough to actually catch it, which made me feel incredibly cool until I crashed 20 seconds later.
What's up, folks? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. Today's episode is, as usual, brought to you by Off the Record. You know who pleads guilty to traffic violations? Suckers, that's who. Don't get yourself into that system. Get yourself some help with Off the Record. Off the Record is a service that connects you to a qualified attorney in any state in the country. Almost anywhere you could get pulled over for something, Off the Record's got a lawyer that can help you. All you have to do is make an account with Off the Record by going to offtherecord.com/TST or by downloading the Off the Record smartphone app and using code TSTPOD. Then, when Off the Record connects you to a lawyer, if you get yourself in a little bit of a sticky jam, they will give you 10% off all legal services booked through Off the Record by using our code. It's amazing. Every week I get emails from somebody who's used Off the Record with success. Get those points off your record, because if you got points on your record, it could affect your employment, it could affect your insurance, it could affect your bank account, or it could affect all 3 of those. Don't get in that jam. Get Off the Record. Go to offtherecord.com/TST or use code TSTPOD on the Off the Record app. Get it done now. Have it in your pocket for if you get in trouble later, you won't freak out. You'll have Off the Record. All right, then, on today's episode, we've got Victoria Scott, automotive journalist, author, photojournalist, and one of the most interesting voices in the trans auto community. How do we want to call it? I don't know. Victoria's awesome. She's put herself out there and taken that shrapnel that comes with being the first one through that door in a lot of ways. And I love Victoria's work. I love Victoria's photos. She's had a bunch of different crazy cars. She's traveled around in a weird JDM van, and I absolutely respect that. Her new book, We Deserve This, is on newsstands and bookstores now, and she's joining us in studio to talk about it. Victoria Scott on the Smoking Tire Podcast. We're up. Willkommen. Welcome, Victoria in the building. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Driving a Nismo Z.
Yes, I am.
Press car. Good choice.
Yeah.
I think are there a ton of miles on that one?
No, it's like 2,500.
Oh, okay. So it's not the same one Aaron Brown drove in Tennessee last month. That's probably a different one.
No.
But they're pretty cool, right?
I really like it. I mean, it's enabling all of my worst habits because
you said that before, and then I didn't follow up with what exactly are those worst habits?
It's incredibly loud. Like surprisingly I would say for a modern street car, right?
That's funny. I didn't think about it as being incredibly loud. Then again, I've driven Hellcats recently. So
yeah,
okay,
I mean, like I've been in a lot of
loud.
crossovers recently, so like
compared to the Grand Highlander, it's probably loud. Yeah.
Yeah. So. So I kind of find myself in like tunnels and underpasses, just sort of blipping the paddle until it stops giving me gears, just so I can get on the gas.
Yeah.
It has
Going,
way too.
Whoa.
It has so much grip that it makes every on-ramp kind of like. I wonder if I can apex this, which you
can,
yeah,
usually.
Yeah.
It does have a lot of grip. Those are excellent tires on that. Are they Bridgestones? I think they're Bridgestones, right?
They're Dunlops.
They're Dunlops?
Yeah,
okay.
Whatever the Dunlop high-end one is.
That's what came on my Spider. It's like SP Sport Max Race 2 or some shit.
Yeah.
So I just hit 5,000 miles on my Spider, and I'm at the wear bars. So that's in case you're wondering why they're sticky, it's because they'll be gone very soon.
Well, and I remember, too, the first drive for that was in Napa.
Yeah.
And it was cold out in the morning. And I remember I was like, I couldn't go above 4,000 RPM for like the first hour I drove it.
Yeah,
because they really need heat.
Yeah, we're getting wheel spin.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was on the track at Sonoma, it was a delight.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I still wish it had a stick just because.
Of course you do, because that would make it better.
Yes.
Their justification for not making it stick was so dumb.
It gets 8% more cooling though.
So they said it's for lap. Like, who the fuck is buying a $68,000 stock Nissan to get the best lap times possible? That's like nobody.
Yeah, no, the whole article I ended up doing for that was just kind of this is a super cool car that I do not understand who would buy.
Well, it was totally undermined by the fact that we got one for Road and Track Performance Car of the Year. And everybody loved it for what it was, but everyone didn't wish it was stick. And oh, by the way, the M2 and the Dark Horse, both of which were stick, smoked it on the track.
Really?
Yeah, smoked it by substantial margins.
Yeah.
And so, like, okay, so it's not faster than its primary competition.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here?
Well, and I was biased. I went on the first drive because they took us to Sonoma, and that was my first time on that track. So they could have given me a golf cart, and I would have been like, yeah.
You're just like, Sonoma. That's what they do. You could if there's a press launch at Laguna Seca and the car is an absolute shitbox, you go anyway. You know what I mean? Like
1981 Oldsmobile diesel launch at Laguna
you know
Seca.
what
I'm there.
track time costs there? Like, let's go. We were just at Sonoma last week, Zach and I, with a Lucid Sapphire. Oh, which was interesting.
Those are such good cars.
It's wild.
They're all right.
I am a Lucid fan.
I want to be, and they do. Well, we'll see if my Road and Track article comes out, because I'll just give it away right now. The really hard stuff, they do amazingly. The really easy stuff that should be totally settled science, they cannot get fucking right. Door locks.
Key fob. Yeah, I was literally thinking
door
key fob.
handles. They invented that 100 years ago. What are you doing? Stop.
They tried to reinvent it.
Fucking Silicon Valley, goddamn rotten brains. What are you doing? Stop.
I know, but the coefficient of drag on it is like lower than any production car except the GM EV1.
Yeah, and like the Dymaxion car. Like, it's fucking, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really hard. You did that. You couldn't make a fucking key fob work. Crazy.
Yeah.
But like, did you put it in like full pants shit drag mode?
I had it it was a street event when I drove it, so I did not put it in full pants shit mode. I put it in partial pants shit mode.
We had
Charting mode.
We had Sonoma, and we fucking did.
Oh, yeah.
We just fucking hit a couple buttons and ran a 9-second quarter mile at 155 miles an hour with no helmets on. Not considering the runoff area.
Yeah.
We had plenty.
Which is like launches you up a hill.
Yeah.
It's not the smooth. I mean, it's fairly smooth, but there is like little change to it, to the runoff versus proper drag strip.
And then I took it to Malibu with Christian, and like deeply, deeply irresponsible to do anything in that car.
The first time that I drove it, it was in La Honda. So I was on California 84, and I was behind a semi-truck for the first 25 miles, and it's all double yellow, so you're not going anywhere. Yeah. And then finally, there's a passing area, and it's short, so I'm like, okay, I can probably get past this guy. I stabbed it, and I was like, I have driven a lot of really cool stuff, but I've never actually been like on a 2-second lag. And I looked down, and I was like, a speed that I can't say.
In the time it takes you to say misdemeanor, you are doing one.
No, I think it was felony by the time you say misdemeanor.
Yeah, if you keep it.
Can you get to felony speeding without actually killing somebody?
I have no idea. I don't intend to find out.
I think you might have to kill somebody, and I think you might have to kill somebody for speeding to become a felony. No?
Technically in California, just going over 100 miles per hour qualifies you for a felony.
Get the fuck out of here.
Or going over double the posted speed limit and causing injury or death. Wait. Okay, this is what it literally says from a law website.
Yeah.
Quote, the legal threshold for speeding to become a felony in California is driving in excess of 100 miles per hour or going over double the posted speed limit and causing injury or death. So I guess if you go 15 to 25 and you hurt someone, or if you just go over 100.
Just 100's a felony?
Can be, if they don't like you.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. I thought that was a misdemeanor. I'm going to have to email my editor. Cop to a felony. That's crazy. And they're just selling fucking 1,200 horsepower cars here.
Yeah.
You don't have to go over 100.
But why would you spend that much money to
get to
the speed limit?
It's difficult to not go over 100 in that car.
In a Sapphire?
Yeah. You're there in like 3.5 seconds, it feels like.
Yeah.
You might actually be there in 3.5 seconds. I don't even know if that's the seat of the pants
70
thing.
to 100 in about 1 second in a
Yes.
Sapphire. It's crazy.
Yeah, so it was cool, and I like their whole, like a lot of manufacturers are trying to do minimalism, I think, and I would argue they do it very well. I did a whole thing for Motor One about how I thought that they were the true Bauhaus-minded automaker, which I
Yeah.
really like. Like, it's one of the few minimalist cabins that I've not been immensely frustrated by.
I think it's got like a French vibe, which I like.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if that was the new Citroen, I'd go, okay, this is the new Citroen DS. Like that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's not. It's a fine line between minimalist and just saying minimalist to cover the fact that you're cheap, which is the Tesla move.
Yes.
You know, like we were in a Cybertruck, and it's like, the fuck
Oh,
outta here.
I haven't actually been inside one yet.
You're not missing anything.
That's fair.
I had to tell someone to their face that I hated their Cybertruck today. They put me on the spot. Couldn't help myself.
Oh, like they asked you what you thought about it?
Yeah, I was at PT.
And they hadn't seen the video?
I was at PT, and Santo was all, fucking, this dude just got his Cybertruck, and it was parked outside, and it had the name of his real estate company on the side of it. And Santo was like, Matt thinks those suck. Tell him. And I was like, yeah.
Wow, he just put you guys into a chicken fight.
Yeah, he does that
Jeez.
shit. Yeah. And there's like weapons in there and shit, too.
Yeah, you could grab dumbbells and things.
Yeah, that was crazy. So you wrote a book.
I did.
Or photographed a book.
And wrote it.
And wrote it. Wrote
Yes.
and photographed a book.
Yes.
Is this all your photography?
Yes,
I
it
didn't
is.
ask. Except, is the picture of you your photography? Did you selfie it?
Which picture is that one of me? I know there's no picture.
Are you not?
There is
featured
no
in here?
picture
I
of
thought
me.
Ryan, I thought the book Ryan had you.
It might
in
have, but I purposely made this project as a way to feature other people, so there's no picture
Sorry,
of me in that.
I think the
but
one
I do
that Ryan
usually,
brought me had it, yeah.
I do usually take all my own pictures. Also, I did actually. One of my previous photo books was an online project where I did just self portraits in old ghost towns.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one. That was cool.
Yeah,
So tell me about the book. We Deserve This, a trans feminine automotive lookbook.
Yeah. So the idea behind it is it's basically a fashion lookbook with an automotive through point. So the cover shoot is like a very 90s inspired. We have like a color coordinating, bright yellows.
Way to catch the train in the back of that shot.
Thank you.
was-
That one
you had
shot
one
was
crack at that.
That shot was that was the first shoot I did for this book, and it was so good. I was like, all right, well, now I have to write a book with this picture.
Yeah, the matching backpack and is that the where is that?
That's in Dallas.
Okay.
So that's
It's like a
the
commuter
DART
train.
Yeah, the Dallas Area Rapid Transit.
It looks like the one in Florida that keeps hitting people. Too.
Oh, Brightline.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like Brightline.
Yeah.
I follow one of those Florida accounts, and like every day they just post the thing that's like Brightline fucking hit another person.
Is the
Well, that's
train
why-
hitting people or are the people hitting the train?
Well, it's a design decision. They should
Yeah.
simply separate the grades.
Yeah.
They didn't do that because they were trying to be cheap. They should have elevated it or submerged it or something.
It's not like the train drivers are out of the Grateful
Right.
Dead song. They're not Casey Jones high on coke. Well, they might be, but that's not what they're trying to say. And the guy's not trying to say that trains are bad, but there's like areas of track that are like they're not fenced, they're not protected. Like
Yeah.
anybody can just walk across the fucking track,
Yeah.
like wherever. It's crazy.
Well, and you've got multi-directional trains on like 80 miles an hour through major urban centers with a bunch of street-level crossings.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just like, what would you expect to happen? You're throwing cars in a very fast train into a blender.
I went to visit my friend Bonnie down in Delray. Shout out to Iguana Safari Tours if you're in Delray. If you want to go iguana hunting, it's fucking fun. But I went into town and I saw the crossing, and I had never seen it in person after following this Instagram. And I was like, fuck me, this dude is like not kidding. This is the craziest train car design. Train and car,
Yeah.
not a train car, but it was
Well, and
crazy.
it's not even high-speed rail.
No.
Like, it's still low, medium-speed rail by
yeah.
the standards of most other countries.
taking
I also have thoughts about trains and planes. I'm a one-stop shop for transit.
Good. Seems like you're in the right job. Anyway, we sidebarred, but okay.
yeah.
So it's a car fashion lookbook for transgendered car people.
Sort of. It's all shot with trans women as the models. So I'm a trans woman myself, and the project initially began because there just isn't. As a photographer, I haven't really seen a lot of like happy, sort of portrayals of our lives. A lot of it has been either mocking for the longest time in American culture, or clinical, as like a medical thing, or kind of lurid, like look at these different people. They're
Voyeuristic.
so yeah. So I wanted to do something that felt like it was a positive, empowering, like successful imagery. And I had seen there are a bunch of high-end manufacturers have their own like in-house magazines. They blend fashion and like their own brands and stuff.
It's a fun marketing strategy when they do that.
It is, but the thing is like it touches upon something real, which is like in American culture, cars are a signifier of both self and success, right?
Uh-huh.
So
And in LA, they're an outfit too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So for this initial shoot that's on the cover of the SW20 MR2, it's like so incredibly 90s. We did.
In one of my favorite colors.
Yeah, it was a JDM model too. So it
Really?
was 5th gen with the beams.
Is that just afternoon, or is that Jewish racing gold?
No, it is actually
right?
yes.
Proper.
Yes, it is the actual gold,
actual-
metal flake
yeah.
paint color. Yeah.
My favorite.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Oh my God, that car still lives rent free in my head. But so I did a shoot where it was like with my friend. She dressed up for it, and we were actually like. I was in town for a few days. We were going out to dinner after, and I was like, we've got like a few hours to the reservation. Let's just go take pictures for fun. So we did pictures of each other, and I got these.
And is that her car?
No, that
Okay.
was when I owned my van that you probably remember seeing, the
Yeah, the
Hiace.
Hiace, yeah.
I took it to my friend's import shop, and he was working on it, and I was like, hey, do you have a car I could borrow? And he was like, sure, how about this SW20? And I was like,
I have
okay, cool.
75 of them.
Yeah.
Those JDM MR2s are rad.
Yeah.
That Japanese engine that they got is better than the American
Yes,
engine. Yeah.
yes. So it was, we did this shoot, and it was just like, the details in the car, like it's got the glass T-top panels with like the super sporting, active lifestyle, like the very weird like Japanese sort of flavor text they were putting in
Yeah.
cars in the 90s.
Yeah, their fucking translations for stuff is just amazing.
Yeah.
My wife's Delica is covered in the strangest stickers ever.
Yes.
Like the special gear for 4x4 runners. Like,
Yes.
You didn't have an American look at that, did you?
No. And so like that, I had this whole like kind of curated set of, this is the shoot looks like it could be from the 90s. And I was like, oh, I could just theme these, and we could keep doing this theme with like these kind of different eras, different slices of life. And I wanted to try to portray like as many different types of like trans life that I've come across. So like a lot of these people are my friends, and I knew like what vibes they all had. And so I'd be like, about half the models brought their own vehicles, and then I sourced cars for the other half. So like this one, I sourced it by having my friend let me borrow it.
Yeah.
The car that's next in the book, which was a Turbo A Mark III Supra, that was also from his shop. But that one we did like a 90s heroin chic kind of like, sort of like
I
Nirvana.
thought you said this was a happy shoot.
It mostly is. My friend was just like, yeah, I want to look like really moody. I want to like. That's the thing is she told me what she wanted to dress as, and I was
Okay.
like, I will pick an environment and a car that matches this.
Yeah.
And so if you go through
I want
these,
to find the heroin.
it's the second one. So
Also, I think
there
the
you
front
go.
half
Order?
of heroin is pretty happy, Matt.
Oh
It's
yeah,
the back half that gets a hold of you.
I would say that is successful. That's exactly what that looks like.
Yeah. So and that the car is like very sinister. It's all blacked out Turbo A. That lady Lexi, my friend, the Protege 5 is not like the most
Protege
expensive
5.
fancy car, but she'd been working on it for her entire life out.
Those drove good.
So yeah, that car's great.
Those drove all right. Yeah.
So for her, it was like just be joyful with your car, like show it off. Like we could, there's a shot of her like working on under the hood, and so it was kind of just about showing as many different slices of like trans life as I could through like something that I was very familiar with, which was automotive culture. I think that like as automotive enthusiasts, we inherently understand that our cars are like reflections of us. My coming out story was very intertwined with, I had a Mark III Supra as my first car. And like as I modified that, I got more comfortable with like self-expression, and like that was a big part of how I learned how to express myself. So we get that as car enthusiasts. I think trans people understand it from the other, like you have to create a self.
Right.
And so crossing the two over seemed to just make sense.
Yeah.
And it had the added bonus of like, for all the trans people who see this, I think they kind of inherently understand the idea of like, yeah, there's not been a lot of media that is this positive.
Right.
I think for like people in the broader LGBT community or just like everybody in general, like car enthusiasts, they recognize this and they're like, oh yeah, like they got that shit on and they have a cool car. Like it's very recognizable, I think, to all of us.
Do you find that the car community in general is more, less, or equal accepting of trans people than the rest of America, excluding like MAGA lunatics.
Yeah. I think America's tricky at the moment just because it's been so politicized for the past couple of years. Like, it's always been politicized, but I would say, like, since probably 2020, maybe a little bit earlier, you know, there's been a lot of legal pushes and stuff, and it's been at a lot of front page news. So it's tricky to say. I would say the automotive industry is it's a mix, right? Like, young people coming into it, I think the car companies themselves are all doing pretty well about it, I would say. A lot of your, like, older enthusiasts, I think, are still having a hard time with the idea of, like, different people coming in. But, I mean, there is a lady in the book who, my friend Lauren, who has a...
lady?
Yep.
Yeah. Is that her Porsche?
Yes, it is.
Is that cow print on the interior? Or is that
yes,
just a weird
yes.
reflection?
No,
Is
it's
that
cow print. Yeah,
That rules.
it had a half cage. She had a built motor. It was like completely.
It's a nice little Porsche. It's got a ducktail on it.
Yeah, she was in the Porsche. She bought it in the 80s. She took it to the Porsche Club basically the minute she got it, and then she did track days in it for the next 40 years.
Folks, we got to take a quick break for ads, because today the Smoking Tire is brought to you by Delete Me. I've been talking about Delete Me the last couple months. It's amazing, because here, almost anyone that you know, maybe it's you, but definitely someone that you know, has been either harassed, scammed, the victims of identity theft online, or maybe just annoyed by spam and robocalls. Privacy really matters here. And if someone's gotten your number, someone's gotten your email, someone's gotten your address, your credit card information, it's because your data is available for sale to the highest bidder. Our life of online convenience, shopping, and booking things through the World Wide Web has made us easy targets. But we can protect ourselves and get peace of mind with Delete Me. It's unbelievable. Everyone needs Delete Me, right? Delete Me will find and remove any personal information that you don't want online, and then make sure it stays off, because Delete Me is not a one-time thing. It's a subscription service that removes your personal information from the largest people search databases on the web, and in the process helps prevent potential identity theft, doxing, and scams. All you got to do is sign up and provide Delete Me with exactly what information you want deleted, and their experts take it from there. Delete Me will then send you regular personalized privacy reports showing what they found, where they found it, and what they removed. To put it simply, Delete Me does all the hard work of wiping you and your family's personal info off the web, and that's why data brokers hate Delete Me. When you sign up, Delete Me immediately goes to work scrubbing your personal information from data broker platforms, and your personal profile is no longer theirs to sell. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/tire and then use promo code TIRE at checkout. The only way to get that 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/tire and enter code TIRE at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/tire, code TIRE. And now, back to the show.
It was the thing with that car
cool.
that was really cool too. Is like, you know, when I met her, she'd been out for about 20-something years, so she came out in like early 2000s. The car she bought in the 80s, when she came out, there was hardly any knowledge. It was still a very, like, you kind of had to just burn your old life and start over. And so she ended up kind of having to do that. Like, she started basically everything over, you know, and the only thing that she kept was that car. So that car was like the consistent through line in her whole life.
That's interesting.
And I think that's the thing, is like the automotive theme like works in so many ways for that kind of story. Like, it can be the one consistent thing, or it can be the thing you consistently reinvent yourself with, right? Like, I've had 12 cars.
Yeah.
You're always like shifting yourself. So like it's fun.
Yeah. But it's better. I mean, I've just, in my observation, I've found that the younger people seem to give less of a shit if you look different or dress different or whatever. You didn't have to. The fuck was that?
I have no idea.
Wow, there was just a weird sound from somewhere. I can't identify that. All right. Everything working?
Yeah, I think a portal open to a different universe.
Yeah,
or
right.
something.
With the younger people, you don't necessarily have to burn your old life, right?
Yes.
It's like,
Well, they're probably exposed to a larger
Yeah.
diversity of people through the internet, TikTok, social media. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
it seems
Well,
like that.
and I think that it's like, I think that before it was just the only way forward. Like to get medication, to get like there were so many roadblocks that it was kind of like you have to do this or you just won't be able to go through with it, or you'll just be so ruthlessly marginalized that you can't possibly make a career or a living for yourself.
Right.
And now we've reached a point where like things are not that dire, thank God. So
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a career doing this. Like,
Yeah. There's one thing I don't wish I was, and that's a woman on the internet. Whenever I talk to women about their experience on the internet, my friend Kristen or Alanis or, any woman who works in cars creating content, I go, fuck me. That sounds awful.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's any better if you're a trans woman.
No. And the thing that's interesting too is like, I do a lot of like, in my day job, I do just a lot of like regular car reviews and stuff.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of people who say very sexist things because they probably aren't aware. They could be even more bigoted if they tried.
Funny.
Yeah.
It's in a terrible way, but like kind of funny.
It's like flattering but terrible.
It's reassuring in a way that like it's not, because sometimes I do get like a lot of transphobic stuff. I'll pop up. I'm sure that like from this, people will find my email address and, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's on your website.
Exactly. So like, but so the there's always like waves of it, but like to a certain degree, like seeing, like Kristen's. Like she's told me horror stories was because I worked with her at the Drive for a while, and it was kind of like there's a little sense of solidarity, I guess, in it that we're all kind of dealing with these morons. And the thing that's nice is that like largely, I would say those people tend to be awful and annoying, but you get to a point where you can kind of tune it out. They don't really affect my career. Like I would say that like there are some institutional barriers, some of which I've been just very lucky enough not to hit, but like day to day, I would say the people who work in the industry are generally,
What kind of institutional barriers?
It's sexism that's just kind of ingrained in like automotive culture. There's definitely like you read about it more in like past eras, but there's definitely like different sets of standards for people and like different expectations of conduct, self-image, like all of that kind of thing that can be like, well, it's impossible to live up to this supposed professionalism.
Right.
But I would say that that's trending towards better.
Yeah, I think as sort of the very old generation sort of phases out, there's people like 40s and under. I think that kind of, in my experience, the definition of what is professionalism, sort of changes.
Yeah, and the idea of like what people do you expect to come across in your work.
Yeah,
and like obviously this is just my experience. So I'm sure other people have had. Still have horror stories and stuff, but I've had I think a combination of really good luck and also I think things are slowly improving.
Yeah, I mean that's good.
Yeah,
there's this kind of ongoing I don't want to say ongoing debate. There's an idea being pressed forward that the internet is very bad for young people, and I'm sure there is some merit to that, particularly when they're very, very young.
Yeah.
It was like the stats on women and like teenage women in terms of self-harm and stuff is terrifying.
Yeah.
Like,
look, I know the internet's bad for me, and I'm a
right.
fucking adult male. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be okay for me, and the internet's fucking really bad for me. I can't imagine being a teen girl. But on the other side of it is, what's her name? Taylor Lorenz, I saw, was writing about, was trying to get stories from people who the internet was good for.
Yes.
Mainly LGBTQ people, trans people, and people that were unable to find community locally and were able to find it on the internet. You might be able to say the same thing about car people.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But what, as someone who came from, is it Iowa or Idaho?
Well, I lived in Idaho. I spent most of my life in Ohio.
Okay, well.
Still same thing.
Rearrange the same fucking letters.
Yes.
What is your personal experience on, is the internet good or bad for someone young finding themselves?
It's extremely challenging to say because it's like you get you get a deluge of bad news, which I think is like if you're like when I lived in Idaho, which was very recently. I live in Seattle now, which is great. I adore that city.
Seattle's lovely.
It's so pretty, and like the state legislature doesn't want to kill me. And that's the thing. Is like when I was in Idaho, I was tracking the state legislature every single day to see if they would introduce a new law that meant I couldn't like effectively live.
Wow.
Because they kept floating them. They kept going through committee. In the time I lived there, none of them passed. You see this in like Florida with like the bathroom ban stuff, where it becomes such a gray area that you leave it up to like an arresting officer to make a decision, which is never a place you want to find yourself in.
They don't have opinions. They're totally
It's not
neutral.
good.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Unbiased protectors.
Yeah.
So, I think that like you get that, and you get that at a nationwide scale, and like obviously as this becomes sort of the topic for the media, and even leading into this election, it's a little bit calmer than it was previously, but it's still loud. I mean, it's still everywhere. There are still entire outlets devoted to like hatred of you specifically and how bad you are for everybody around you, which does like it's bad for your mental health. It's just straight up bad. But on the flip side, in this book, actually, my friend Kara, who is featured with the 240Z, she used to own a 280ZX. I found her on Twitter like probably 6 years ago now, and she's so cool. She does amazing photography. She does like all this cool retro tech. She composes music. Like she's phenomenally talented. Very happy. Yeah, with the orange 240.
Yeah.
And
the right color for that car. And Watanabe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my friend Daisy, thank you for supplying that car, because she sold the 280ZX a while ago. So I was like, oh, well, I'll get your favorite car for it, because I know you'll want to pose with this.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. So that was a fun one. We did like a whole forest witchy kind of theme with it.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Those are the right wheels for that car.
Yeah, but like we became friends with the internet, and I asked her a bunch of stuff when I was first like trying to figure out what was up with me, and she was like really helpful, and like that kind of personal, like I never would have found her. I never would have found most of the people who are in this book without the aid of like at the time it was Twitter. Now there's like a million different things, and I still haven't figured out which one is going to be the successor to it. But it doesn't really matter. The point is like you put the entire United States in a room, and you will find the people who are like you. You'll find, I remember, if you were to use an automotive example, like when I had a Mark III Supra, this was before people cared about those. They were just like the disappointment. You told people, oh, I've got a Supra. And they're like, ooh, yeah. And then you'd be like, yeah, it's an 88.
It's a Celica Supra.
Yeah. and they'd be like, oh, okay. And they're like, with pop-ups. And they're like, yeah, okay, get out of here. And so in that era, before anybody cared, basically, like if you wanted to find parts, if you wanted to find institutional knowledge about how to repair it, if you wanted to find modifications, you had to go to forums or Facebook groups to a certain degree, or just you had to kind of find your way to these other people who had the similar kind of life problem, right? Like whether it was fixing their Supra or modifying their Supra, making it go faster, or transitioning their gender.
I like where you're connecting these.
So like I think that there's parallels, right? The whole point of like all of this is like these experiences I think are something we can all kind of relate to. And so I mean that aspect was very good. I miss actually like forum days. That was pretty cool. Is it good overall? I don't know, honestly.
I don't know if I've ever really had a good experience in a forum.
I mean,
I was on so many Subi forums. They were so helpful back in the day.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think maybe you have to wrench.
You do.
If you don't wrench, which I don't, then it's just people. Then it's just
there's no reason to go
insufferable. People.
No, I graduated college. I bought my Supra for like $3,000. Which is back when you get a clean, rust-free, clean stock manual turbo Supra for $2,800.
They had a 1JZ, right?
No, that was a 7M.
After that? Oh. Yeah. Okay, still inline-six turbo, but older.
Yeah, it was still it's kind of like a 1J, except it sounds better and drives worse. That's
the
things I'm not really looking for from a like inline-six turbocharged Toyota. It's like
Supras.
it's worse, but it sounds really good. I want it to work really well.
Yeah, no, this is not your car then.
All right.
No, but that was just. That whole era was just like it was extremely enabled by. I was fresh out of college.
Internet 1.0 though. I mean, like
to an extent, yeah. I think it was harder to find stuff.
Yeah.
It was, but the stuff I found wasn't total garbage.
Yeah.
Which is what happens now.
Yeah, that's
Well,
fair.
I think it seemed like there was less exploitation on the internet because it was newer. Like
Yeah.
there would be forums
Yeah.
and things like that, but people were no one had figured out really how to, like, I hate this term, it's overused a little bit, but weaponize the internet.
Yes.
It wasn't being used for mass propaganda by someone who has like $1,000 and emails a bot farm that will take that and do something
and like
with
Google
it. You know?
was like, don't be evil and shit, instead of like, what else you gonna fucking do?
Yeah, there was
Turns out being evil is very
Yeah,
profitable.
right. It was like we were gonna not be evil, but then I saw the new Fedship 380 with 2 helipads on it, and I was like, you know what? Evil sounds
one of the
all
competing
right.
search engings was literally a friendly butler named
Yeah,
Jeeves.
yeah.
Like, it was such a nice place.
Did you just see that on the most recent episode of Some More News was about why fucking
Ask Jeeves failed? Or
no, it was about why Google is fucking hard, why search is fucked.
Oh, okay.
It's about how Google broke the internet with bad search, and like the ripple effect of that. But yeah, the one forum I ever went on was Ferrari Chat, which is like
Oh, that's
You-
got to be interesting.
the worst human you've ever fucking seen in your life. Everyone on there is like, don't you have a job? What are you doing? 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, you have an Enzo, and you're like fucking, "Meh." Like, what the fuck?
That's what a lawyer does when they do a 15-minute phone call and they bill for an hour. 45 minutes, they're on Ferrari
Fucking
Chat.
call it inheritance.com. Get on your fucking life. Suck. Yeah, it wasn't good. So who in the book had the best car? The Porsche is pretty good.
The Porsche, I think, was actually my
Porsche's
favorite.
pretty good. We got an R32 here.
Yeah, the R32 I actually wrote a story about for Motor One. I did like a retro review thing. That was very fun.
What? Tell me about this crossbow. Is this?
It's not a crossbow. It's a BAC
Oh, I'm
Mono
sorry,
R.
It's a BAC Mono.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Is this Crystal's BAC Mono R?
It is not.
Okay.
It is a personal friend of mine's who brought it out for the shoot, and
That
I was like, cool. This is now. I was trying to see what the most expensive thing I could get for this was.
Yep.
And that ended up being it.
Did you drive it?
No, I've kind of got like at some point you can, and I'm like, please, like 10 minutes. I promise. I might bring it back.
It's pretty. It's pretty. You just like you want to have someone bring it to the right place, and then you just go back and forth on the good road, and then you go, "Thank you very much."
Yeah.
And you don't. This is a handback of the
So,
keys. It's the steering wheel. Handbag.
He brought me that car, and then he brought me the next shoot is a Huracan STO. And so actually Crystal drove the Huracan, and he drove the BAC, and we had to move the cars for from the one spot for doing Crystals to the spot where we did Elizabeth's shoot, and basically like he drove it. I think it was 5 minutes, and he didn't put the earplugs in.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, that was awful. I'm never doing that again." I would park this thing and put the earplugs in.
We
it was
had
deafening.
one for Performance Car of the Year.
Yeah.
And I hated it on the track.
Really?
I hated it on the track. I didn't like it at all. I don't like open wheel cars. I just am not comfortable. I can't steer. I'm like, because I got big shoulders and I don't fit in them. But I drove it on the street. And on the street, no one should do this, but I drove without a helmet. And it was fucking glorious without a helmet. I had like my fucking MAGA wraparound shades. I knew I was going to do this, so I brought them. And you know I don't have hair, so whatever. And I drove it up the road, and it was so glorious. Because like I ride motorcycles too, but I wear a full face helmet. I don't. It was like even better than a motorcycle, because you're just everything from here. I'm showing my chest height. Everything from here up is just open, and you're in the middle, and you've got this, and the front wheels are doing their thing, and you have this. It was like going to see a concert at the Sphere, but like in real life. Like you know, even I drove the Elva with no windshield, but this was a totally different thing, and on the track, it's really ragged and kind of hairy, but on the street when you're going like 6/10, it was actually very, very lovely, And that was one of the greatest 45 minutes of driving I ever had, was driving a mono with no helmet on the street. It was so great.
All right,
On some road outside Sacramento by Thunderhill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not tried it. I really would like to. I didn't drive the Lambo either, and I'd like to drive that one as well.
Those are fun.
I've never. So it's weird because I've only been in this industry for like 3.5 years. It's like I've just been getting into more exotic stuff recently, which is really fun. I went to an Aston event first. It was a Heels and Wheels. It's like a women's automotive writing like event basically, and Aston brought out their lineup. And so now I've become an Aston Martin fan.
They're a good time. How can you not be an Aston Martin fan?
Yeah, I don't know.
Even if you don't like the cars that much, the idea of them is so great.
Oh, I've never felt hotter than I did when I had a Vantage F1 edition on Palms to Pines.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I'm actually the best person in the world right now.
Yeah. DB12 is where it's at. That's
okay. I drove
spectacular.
an 11. It was
The
while
12
ago.
is
it?
You should try and get a 12.
Okay.
It's really
Seattle's
good.
press fleet isn't always. I had a DBX 707 recently.
Better than
that
you
was
think,
an
right?
extremely good time.
Yeah.
I also did review that for Motor One, and my takeaway was like, oh, it's a supercar that just is like a little bit more upright.
They're all right.
It was. I loved that thing.
Yeah, they're really nice. That's what I drove in the fucking Vegas F1 track.
Oh.
Yeah. 174 down the front straight down the Vegas Strip. It was rad.
Yeah, and your like seat heaters are still going.
Massage
The
seats.
I
did have massage seats.
Yeah.
Going. Yes. I'm a very big fan of race tracks plus massage seats.
Yeah.
Did it with the Bentley in Nashville as well.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is NCM? Bowling Green. Sorry.
Okay.
Always confuse my Smoky
Midwestern
Mountain states. No, Bowling Green's all right. So did you have any new revelations making the book, or did it just kind of reflect what you wanted it to reflect and was a fun photo project?
I've been surprised at how many people are into it. Honestly, I did it as like the title is obviously like very like trans community oriented. Like it is, we deserve this, because I felt really strongly about it, and I was making it initially with just like my friends in mind. So I've been surprised that like the broader like the automotive world has been interested in it. I mean, I'm here, which is kind of cool. And
With dudes on a podcast.
but I mean, it's just like the community at large seems interested. We did a soft launch event at a place called The Shop in Seattle.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Matt's place.
Yeah,
Matt Bell.
Yes,
he's a friend. He's a homie.
Yeah,
we've been talking to him about doing a road show there. Doing a live podcast.
You should definitely come to Seattle.
Yeah,
come hang out. It's awesome.
Yeah,
but that place was great. So you know the setup. Then they got the car storage stuff, and they've got like a little work area, big work area where people are like actively wrenching on their cars. And so we
have a bar.
Yes, yes,
and they serve liquor.
Yes.
Just why I go.
So we set up the book signing like right near these bays where people are actively working on their stuff, and I would advertise the events. A bunch of people are coming in, and some of the people who are working on their cars come over and they start peeking at it, and it's like it's car enthusiasts who don't really have any link at all to like the broader LGBT community, and they were just like, this is cool, I get it. And I was like, sweet. That was when I was like, okay, this is successful, because I figured that the trans community itself would understand what I was going for. I knew that there'd be a subset. Obviously Ryan understood it since he published it. Ryan from Carrera Books, my publisher, he understood it. But like when it was a guy who was like actively wrenching on like a '60s pickup truck who came over and was like had never heard of any of this and was like, yeah, cool. And got a copy. I was like, okay, sweet.
That's cool, yeah.
So that was exciting. I mean, from a photographic perspective, everything is natural light. So I do think that actually they're ordered more or less in kind of like chronological of how I did them, just because that seemed like the easiest way to sort the shoots. And I do think that like you can see little changes to my style and sort of like vision as you go through it, which that was pretty fun. Mm-hmm. There's one shoot in there that actually wasn't natural light. It's the R32. We did that in Detroit at night with like LEDs and made it look like cyberpunk.
Oh, that's the like Tron looking one.
Yes,
yes.
Yeah. That's very much my friend's vibe. They are very into
Volkswagen R32, not Skyline R32.
Yes.
But yeah, we've got the patent leather.
Yeah.
Do you call it patent leather when it's a halter top?
No. That's just latex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Obviously, I know fashion. And this is the most all-track shoot ever.
Yes. Yep. Well, that's what I liked. It's like
no Subaru Outbacks, I've noticed.
Crosstrek though.
Oh, No, that's a Volkswagen.
No, there's a Crosstrek
Oh,
a
there
few
was
pages.
is there a
yeah,
Crosstrek
if
in
you go
there?
back from there,
I missed the Crosstrek.
Ari Drennan, who is a fellow journalist of mine, actually.
I was going to say, way to right.
Yeah.
Almost way to avoid the obvious.
No,
but then
no.
there it is.
That is,
it's a press car.
and it was a press car. Yeah, thanks, Aaron. I need to send him his copy. And we went to Rainier, and it was she's got the whole like bougie hiking fit. It was like perfect Subaru vibes.
It is this. You could have gone to what's it fucking called here? Where do all the celebrities go hiking in makeup? Runyon Canyon.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to see you want to get really mad at life and see like a C-list celebrity hiking in full makeup with a latte and like not sweating because
On
they
a
have so much
tarmac road,
Botox.
by the way. Isn't it mostly tarmac? that
That's
hike?
no.
There is the tarmac loop, which is like the dog walking hike, and there's actually a pretty hard hike there. There's a hike that I do with Hannah there that's like actually challenging, and you will sweat.
In Seattle, it's like, oh, that mountain looks good.
Yeah, no, they have good fucking hiking.
I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I was supposed to just be there recently. The plague came through our house, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I had to cancel going to the Maki rally thing in Seattle.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you go to that?
I saw that. I did not go to it because I was going to Indy.
Oh, you went
So,
to Indy.
yeah. I was
supposed
Zach
to go
got
to that,
the plague,
but I
and he
got
was
sick.
supposed to go to Indy.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
How was Indy?
Oh, so I was there with Honda. I did a story
You would
on.
have been hanging out. That's where Zach was supposed to be.
I did a story on the simulator because they took me into the new Ansible Motion.
And it was
rig.
terrible and not very fun, right?
Yeah, I didn't have the best time of my life at all.
Great. I'm going to leave now. Continue.
Is that the one that's the full car?
It's a Dallara cockpit on like a giant hydraulic pedestal that just kind of feel like I'm like it's not real, and then you feel the car load in off the jack, and it slides down, and you slip the clutch to get going, and the whole thing kind of jerks, and the seatbelt tensioners go, and you're like, this is real. I'm gonna die.
That's awesome.
The really good Sims. Was it goggles or was it?
No, it was a 8-foot tall, 27 or 30 foot wide wraparound screen.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was the full. I wrote a story about it for Motor One.
Cool.
There's a couple of pictures in there. But
The one I used at CXC Simulators, which is down here, right by here, when I went to practice for the F1 track, because I got fucking 5 laps. That's it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to look like I'm going fast. So they have the track in Assetto Corsa. They made it beforehand.
Okay, gotcha.
So I went to try it, and they put me in this sim they've got that's spherical. So the screen was $1 million.
yeah.
And it was, I don't know, 10 feet across and 8 feet up, and it came up over your head. It was real crazy. Oh, look
Yeah.
at that. It's not as big as that, though.
Yeah, no, that is the Honda wouldn't tell me how much it cost. They were very.
This
Wait,
screen
so
looks like
that-
it's a 180-degree.
It is
Screen.
Like literally,
Yeah.
the minute you are strapped into that
Yeah.
car, there is almost
So
no
is
discerning between reality and.
Is it projected or is it
Yes,
an LED? It's projected.
It is 5 PCs with 5 coordinated projectors. It's like 48K.
And it looks like, and the chassis spins and
Yeah.
slides and.
So the way it goes is it's on that track there, and
there's
you walk up the
horizontal- yeah,
stairs.
there's 2 axes of rails.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So you walk up the stairs to get in. That's its like loading position, and then it slides over and points towards the center. So the car itself rotates towards the center of the screen, and then that slides over to the middle, and it also elevates slightly because it's on hydraulics.
That
Because that way
seems like
you can feel pitch and roll. And,
Yes.
Yeah.
it seems like such a complicated solution. They could just put a little step ladder down there and have the car where it needs to be.
The problem is though is that like the wheels got to come out because you can't get in otherwise. The halo is actually, thank God, it's like a lift mechanism kind because I was wearing a skirt that day, which would have been very awkward to try to get into
Yeah.
if I was.
Well, also, you don't want
I
to
did
step
not
on the
plan
tracks.
for this.
Matt.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But it was just. It's the thing that's wild. I wrote about this in the story. Is like the moment where I was just kind of in awe with this was there was a moment I was in like turn 4 and I was just setting qualifying laps. There's like no aero on the car, and I've wrecked like 4 times at this point, and I feel like I'm going into turn 4 and I feel the rear end slide. Like I don't feel it in the wheel, I feel it in my ass.
Wow.
Right?
Cool.
Because like you can tell, and I reacted to it quick enough to actually catch it, which made me feel incredibly cool until
Yeah.
I crashed 20 seconds later. But like it was just like the fidelity of it in terms of the motion that it transmits through your whole body is
Yeah.
unbelievable. Like it was very difficult to convince myself it wasn't real.
That's really
I
cool.
drove. So CXC also made a trophy truck version,
Oh, I
which
remember that.
had like
That was the
8
greatest.
2-foot actuators on it.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing. I forget how much they said it weighed, but it was like it looked like a roll cage that you could put into a real truck, and then it was just suspended on these actuators, and the whole thing pitched and rolled.
Oh,
I mean, it
that's
was
awesome.
VR; it wasn't a screen.
Okay.
And the graphics in the VR were fine for like short course Lucas Oil, trophy truck racing. But in terms of the sensations coming through it,
Yeah, it was so
absolutely
legit.
felt accurate, and
Yes.
it was wild. And
You know where that
super
ended
fun.
up?
Yes, I do.
On one of them giant cruise ships.
Yeah.
One of
Really?
those, like, freakishly huge
Yes.
cruise ships. That's where that thing is.
Yeah, they said that, and I said, "What if you're in the cabin next door to this thing?" I mean, it's probably down the hall because it's not the
Yeah.
quietest thing, but it's
in the mall
amazing.
next to the zoo.
I mean,
on
you go over
fucking
jumps, you feel
Spaceball 1.
you feel gravity go away, you land. Oh my god, it's so good.
That looks like a good time. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'd fit in it though.
So
I
that
think
was
they
that
make
was
it
what
in
I
my
was doing
size.
instead of Maki, which
Well, that's-
and then the
I mean,
race
that looks
itself
fun.
was I had never been before.
Yeah.
Genuinely just like one of the greatest. It really is the greatest spectacle in racing. They're not lying.
And I bet you had good ass access too. I bet they had nice hospitality.
Yeah, I mean,
Little
I was in the
fucking
Honda.
Pigs in a blanket.
I was in
and
the
shit.
Honda suite, and honestly, it was funny because there were a bunch of people who just kind of stayed downstairs in like the air conditioned area, and we got rain delayed, so I spent a bunch of time down there, like working or whatever, just chilling. And then when they finally brought the cars out, I was like, I'm going upstairs to stand on the bleachers for the entire rest of this race. I sat for maybe 15 minutes that entire race. I don't know how you could. I was so into it. It was.
Can you?
It's a good race too. Right?
Oh my god,
so
it was
much
incredible.
Passing,
There were
so
like
much position
70
change.
lead changes.
Yeah,
Is it easier to, like, I've been to a bunch of NASCAR races and I've been to a couple F1 races, and I've been to a lot of endurance racing.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every time I go, I'm entertained for 5 minutes. And then I kind of either find myself watching the race on a TV in one of the hospitality,
Yeah.
so I can like fucking actually see what's going
Yeah.
on. Or, I'm kind of like looking for other stuff to do. Is this not like that?
I don't think it was. Now, I should also say that I've been to 24 Hours of Daytona once, and I shot pictures and ran around the track basically for 21 of those hours.
Yeah.
I didn't really sleep. So I think I just really like racing. But I will say, like, from where I was, we're above the pits basically, and you could see all the front straight, them basically coming out of 4 into 1, and then you could kind of peek above the like stands behind, and you could see all the way into like 2 and
okay.
like the back straight.
All right.
Which was like, I thought it was. I mean, you could see enough of it that I was never like wondering what was going to happen. And they're so fast, they're back very rapidly. And usually, the way that this race worked out, like a bunch of the really big lead changes happened like right in front of us.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So that was I'm
I'm not trying to shit on it. Like, there's people who love
Oh,
this
yeah.
stuff, and I get why. I just, like, every time I go to a race, I find myself watching the race on TV at the race. And I'm like, well, this is kind of
I think road courses. That's
Yeah.
what
Particularly
happens
road
because it's like
courses.
they go off into the sunset. They're gone for like a minute, but
Long
a lap
Beach-
time at Indy is 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Long Beach is really bad for this too. Like I've been to IndyCar at Long Beach, and I love seeing like the historics beforehand because they
Yeah.
bring out like Mazda brings out the 787, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
That
hell
shit's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, I'm like just play this on loop, and I could fall asleep to it. It's calming. But you go to the actual IndyCar race, and it's like you see them for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
There's the only good vantage point to watch that race is from like one of the high rises.
Yeah.
At like the 40th floor.
Yeah. You gotta get the Airbnb for 10 G's. And
Yes.
You're good. Same with like Monaco.
Yeah.
Although I was a little bit spoiled and I got to watch it from the roof of the Fairmont, which is actually very cool because you could see 3 different corners. So you could go to this side of the building and then this side
Okay.
of the building and my room was directly above the tunnel, which is on the one hand awesome.
Yes.
I mean, literally, it was tunnel my room. It was the bottom floor of the hotel was the roof of the tunnel, and
that's
it was
awesome.
the cheapest room. The cheapest room you could get in Monaco that
Yeah.
week is ocean facing, because the other side faces the track.
Oh yeah.
So normally it's reverse.
Yeah.
Normally the city view is cheap. This weekend the ocean view is cheap, and then I'm out partying till 5 a.m. 7:01. Fuck. And that was. I'm not going back to bed after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm glad you had fun. That's cool.
Yeah. I also
Especially because
just, like,
Zach didn't get to go.
yeah. Well, next year.
next
Yeah,
year
okay,
they
like-
said rain check, and I was like, I said witness, like screen grab. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want to go.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they send me again because I'm just like I also shot the whole thing on film.
Oh, cool.
So I've got a story about that coming out soon, just because it was fun.
Yeah. High shutter speed.
No,
Or-
actually,
or
some of
very-
them I panned.
Really?
Like, so I had
What
one
film do you
roll of
like?
film.
You had one roll of
I
film?
took one roll of film with me, and I shot the entirety of the weekend successfully. Actually,
Fucking lugged a film camera all the way to Indianapolis and only brought one roll of film?
yeah,
Why?
because I like the challenge. Because I was there, I did social
Respect.
for
Yeah.
for Motor One's Instagram, and I had like a digital camera to get a couple of shots in here, although we couldn't really take many. The last shot in the story is actually on film. There's a shot that's like the vibes of that one right there. The control room.
the soft
That was it.
focus.
That was it. 1/2 of a second. No, it's not soft focus.
Oh,
it's
it's a
focused
half
on the
second.
room.
Oh. That guy on the right is napping.
Yes. Well, we were in there for that's Jerry. If you know Jerry Perez from The Drive, we had like 8 journalists, like 4 of us ran the thing, and we were each in there for 25 minutes. So I mean,
it's a long time.
Lots of time to sit around.
yeah, but it's felt like I was in there for about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I like the challenge is fun.
25
what
minutes
film?
stint in that simulator. That's tiring.
I was
That's fun.
soaking wet I was just dripping wet
Yeah.
with sweat.
Yeah,
I
it's a
was
lot of
like,
effort.
yeah. Well, and the
They
other thing
don't, they
too.
don't put a fucking fan on your face like
No.
a dyno to really simulate
Big fan for Indy.
200-mile-an-hour fan in your face.
They get it from NASA.
That would be like driving a BAC mono with no helmet. Exactly what that's like. I had the Jeremy Clarkson lips going. We got a bunch on the Patreon, so I want to get to that. What is your film camera of choice?
My film camera of choice. I've been shooting with a Nikon F4. That's what I shot Indy on. I love that camera. And then I recently picked up, thanks to a friend who sent it to me as a gift. It was a Fujica GW690. So that's
no
a
idea what that is.
medium format rangefinder.
Oh,
they call
cool.
it the Texas Leica because it's like a Leica, but it's enormous.
Is it a wide frame?
No, it's a 90 millimeter lens, but it's on a medium format camera, so the image square is enormous. Like it's a 6x9.
Okay, it's 6 by
camera.
9.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool.
So
All
it's
right, yeah.
and it's equivalent to like a 50 millimeter lens on a regular
Cool.
35.
Yeah, no,
millimeter
I
camera.
shot medium format in college on
Oh.
a Mamiya RZ67.
Yeah, that's right. Okay,
why
you
I'm
know-
asking.
okay, yeah,
But I
you've
didn't
already
know
got
if it
all
was
this.
like that Fuji 617 they've got,
No,
which
one
is
of my
like the dream.
One of my friends has one of those,
Yeah.
and I've shot one roll through it. And
Is
I was
it
like,
Harper?
no.
He's got one.
I know he does, but
Yeah,
no,
Harper's
it's
got one.
my friend Charlotte, who has the Oldsmobile diesel I reviewed a while ago.
A running Oldsmobile diesel. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
no, she daily drove it for a while.
Fuck outta
She's insane.
No thanks.
But she's great. Also, there's a review on that one. Actually, that story there is
What are
also
one of
about
those?
that car.
Can you like look on eBay right now and see what a Fuji 6X17
Yeah.
goes for? It's got to be $5,000.
They're I think 3 last
Are
I
they?
checked. Yeah, because I want one.
They're
really
not still
badly.
making them, right?
Oh God, no.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's like 3
That's
if you
like
get
the
one with a
dream
single
camera.
lens,
Oh,
and
look
it's
at
like,
this.
oh,
Oh,
hey,
it's a
not bad.
G617?
Yep,
Is that
that's it.
Yeah. 2,500 for the full kit.
Oh, that's not the full. That can't be the full kit. Does that have all the lenses? No.
It's gonna have one. It's got one.
Yeah,
lens.
one because
Oh,
there's
there
a
you
full
go.
set of 3 lenses, and those are like
No,
10
no,
grand.
no. But for one, that one's got the 105,
Which is
for
a good one.
2,700. Yeah, that's all right. Okay, I mean expensive, but not. That's the full kit, the $7,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the fucking jam, dude.
Oh yeah. Also, yeah, I forgot that you
Those
had
are
probably shot
so
medium format.
Awesome. Yeah, I miss my medium format camera. I
I-
shouldn't have sold it.
I honestly love it. I mean, a lot of the
Go back, Zach. That is the size. That right there is the size of the negative.
Yeah.
So the negative is like this big. So you can
Jeez.
shoot. You can shoot a billboard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's
I
gorgeous.
did a couple of shots of the Seattle skyline, which I still need to get scanned because getting scans of that is really challenging
Well, that's.
now.
I mean, the problem with all medium and large format is it's every time you pull the shutter, you're spending $3.
oh, at least yeah.
Between film
Well-
processing and scanning or whatever, it's yeah.
Even the 6x9 I've got is, it's 8 shots a roll of 120, and it's
Yeah.
just like I shot. I was out on a work trip and in the middle of the mountains in Washington, and I shot like some really pretty shots of the Cascades and stuff, and I'm like, these all better come out perfectly because if I waste one shot of
Yeah,
these,
you're
that's
like
like
double light metering
$6.
everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
I shot my senior thesis on an 8x10.
Oh,
So
awesome.
not only was the thing 85 pounds and made of wood, it fucking came in the biggest tackle box like ever.
yeah.
Every shutter pull was $25.
Yeah.
In 2004.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That's so cool you shot. I want to get into large format so bad.
It's
it would
not for
ruin
the
my
faint of
life.
heart.
It would
Yeah.
ruin my life, and I want to do it so bad.
Yeah. You have to like work backwards. Like before you even think about buying one, you have to like, where's the lab?
Yes.
Can the lab handle this? Where
Yeah.
am I going to buy film? Can I buy film? You know, it's like it's a whole pain in the
Yeah,
ass. But
we have some really good camera shops up in Seattle.
I bet.
Glazers is my spot. They
bet.
carry like fresh 8x10.
Oh, really?
You can buy it out of a fridge there. You can pick it up same day, which is kind of like every time I'm there, it's kind of calm.
Well, they
like
catch it in the sound.
It's calls like the Green Goblin mask. It's like, come on, just do it.
There's a chick here in LA who opened a lab like in her apartment. And like the first time I went to drop off film there, I called and I was like, I'm at the address, but like this is an apartment building. She's like, I'll be right down. And like she has like proper color processing for 35 and medium format like in her apartment.
Incredible.
It's crazy. Like I hope she's wearing a hazmat suit in this place. The fumes must be like insane in there.
You're not getting your deposit back?
Yeah, no. I hope she doesn't get kicked out.
The cops will think she's running a grow op because of all the ventilators. But she's like, it's just film.
Yeah. That's somehow more illegal, ma'am. Can you just stick to growing weed, please? Because this is really dangerous. We got a lot on the Patreon, and patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast is where you ask questions for the show. It's where you get an ad-free listening experience. It's where you get the show before everybody else. It's where you get an extra show each month, and it's how you support your favorite podcasters. We will start with one specific to Victoria and then work our way back around. Our new favorite username, SloppyToppy5000, apparently is something you can pay a hooker for, and we don't really know what it is, but that's how we found that out. We found it in the reviews of a brothel. Seriously, it's the best username ever. Says, Victoria, how do you go about scouting locations for photos and setting up shots when on a road trip? Asking for me, who is trying to get more into automotive photography.
So I would say like scouting locations, that one specific shot that's referred to here, which is an Kia EV9 in front of the abandoned Satsop nuclear power plant in Washington.
There's probably something to be said about that.
Yeah, that one was...
source that produces infinite nuclear power or doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was a place I pre-scouted online, and I found out like it's allowed to be there. People don't really bother you. It's an industrial park now, but the cooling towers are still there. So that one was kind of like
porn.
Yeah, no, it was the pictures. I was actually pretty happy with those pictures. But so that one was just kind of a place I scouted online first, and I'd heard about it a bunch. A lot of the times though, when I find stuff like I'm on press drives, I do all my own pictures for all of my reviews. So I will just drive and kind of be like, that looks interesting, and I'll pull off.
You don't get to pre-scout a lot of that stuff.
No, I'll pull off. I'll try to take a picture. If it doesn't work, then you won't see it. So you're only seeing the ones that are like every third time I pull off, I get the shot.
Yeah.
And the other thing to keep in mind too is like if you are shooting a car that's got like any kind of good angles or lines, always position for that. And like work with the light that you've got. If you're kind of like have to work your background into that, think about that next. But like position your car how you want it for like to get the sun and like the character lines and stuff. It'll always look great.
I shoot into the sun a lot, just like a thing I do. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but I just like it.
I think it's stylistic. I mean,
Lucas says, what are the challenges of being an automotive journalist in a rural region such as Idaho?
Oh yeah. Well, that was.
You left.
Yeah, I left. I live in Seattle now, so I am not in a. One of the biggest things was getting to the airport. So I lived in a little tiny town called Salmon. That was actually the name of it. Salmon, Idaho. Had 3,200 people. There were like 6,000 in the whole county. Wow. It was 2.5 hours to the nearest airport. So if I had like a 6 a.m. flight out of Missoula, Montana.
And the nearest airport's Missoula.
Yes.
Holy shit.
So I would, you're waking up at midnight basically. You're just not sleeping.
That's a no-go.
So that was rough. You can't get press cars out there, obviously, which as a freelancer was very limiting because back then I was freelancing. Obviously, like there's fears that accompany it. I think I mentioned it earlier, but like for me, a big source of anxiety was just like, am I going to wake up today in this new law? Am I going to is somebody in this really
Why
tiny
did you
town?
go to Idaho in the first place?
Foolish young love.
Really foolish.
Idaho. Extremely.
Fuck
No.
I remember I did this super LA thing in like 2013. I was at a party and I met a girl and she was like, I live in Pasadena, and my brain behind my eyes was like, no.
Do you remember Victoria? No, Victoria with a K? Did you ever meet her?
I don't know.
I think you did. Victoria was the girl who was literally a model and an actual rocket scientist at JPL, and she was like,
Oh yeah.
so hot and so smart and rich. And I broke up with her because she lived in Pasadena. I dated her for like 2 months, and I was like, not doing this anymore.
Hannah, you're great.
In traditional
wife.
lesbian style, I U-hauled, so it was very much we met in another place, and I moved there.
Yeah.
It's not perhaps the smartest decision.
Who chose Idaho, though?
It was their place.
Oh, it was where they
lived.
live. Okay. Oh, yeah.
So it was.
Did living in that rural place though help you or push you to do more like feature articles and stories that weren't car reviews? Because you had to make content, but you couldn't get cars.
That's when I did the self-portrait project because I had time to kill, and what else is there in Idaho
I was
except
alone.
ghost towns? Yeah, I was alone. I did self-portraits in ghost towns. I did a couple of long-form things. I published like a zine. It was I drove a Peugeot 405 MA16 and that Oldsmobile diesel from Seattle to Minneapolis with some friends. And I did
those are some garbage cars.
the 405. MI16 is like one of my favorite cars of all time.
Really?
I swear to God.
Really?
That car can do no wrong. It's incredible.
Why is it incredible?
It was so comfortable. It was one of the best handling front wheel drive cars I've driven pre, fourth gen Integra.
Yeah.
I loved the drivetrain. It's super revvy. It loves to be wrung out. The transmission was actually pretty solid on it. Every ergonomic. It's weirdly French, right? It's just
very French.
I loved it. I adore that car.
All right, you're allowed. Let's see. Dre in Houston says, love the dioramas.
Oh.
My question is aviation related, as I'm a big plane nerd. What are your thoughts on the Boeing issues? Just because you live in Seattle, does that make you a Boeing expert?
No,
or are
I
you
am
an
actually an aviation
You
nerd
are?
now.
Oh, yeah. They seem bad.
Yeah, I think in the interest of not getting shot in a parking lot while I'm trying to get Taco Bell, they're fine. You should just totally get on them. Don't worry about it.
Have you seen on the online booking sites now you can select or deselect what type of plane?
No, really?
you would prefer to fly on? Yeah.
I mean, the way I figure is the FAA is probably walking us towards our next disaster by overworking everyone involved in aviation rather than the plane itself domestically. So I worry the same amount I always have. I never worry more or less. It's just always anxiety.
Yeah. I've gotten in some really terrible cars, and I'm probably more likely to die in that.
Oh, yeah.
Than I am even in a boat.
Yeah, statistically, air travel is still great.
Yeah.
And I do still, every time a 747 goes over, because I live right under the flight path for SeaTac, every time a 74 goes over, I'm like,
Delightful.
that's the correct airplane.
Yeah. I just saw, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, the private 747. I think it's some chic from somewhere.
Yeah.
It was at LAX, and it's comedy.
Yeah.
Because they put it where they put the private planes.
Yes.
And so, like a Gulfstream 6 is pretty goddamn awesome, but
It's taking your Hummer EV to the Mini Cooper meet.
Yeah. It's like the dude with the 100-foot yacht at Monaco Grand Prix, and there's the yacht Shabazz or whatever fucking rolls up and just dwarfs shit.
It's like Mike Tyson dropping his tiger off at the vet for boarding for a week.
Yeah. Andrew says, where's somewhere in the U.S. you've always wanted to take photos, and what car would you choose?
Oh, this is a really good one. I love shooting the American Southwest. I've shot a bunch of it previously, but there's a bunch of stretch near Great Basin that I've never actually shot in Nevada. And what I really want to do is I want to buy an old terrible 60s car. You can pick up late 60s Fords for almost nothing right now.
Sedans and shit that nobody wants?
Nobody wants them. I do. And what I want to do is get it into roadworthy enough condition I can go do a road trip through the desert in it and just driving through the ruins of Americana.
How fucking Kerouac of you.
Well,
I'm not talking shit. That's what that is. That's exactly what that is.
I think it would just be a fun project, and I think it would be cool if I could do it with my own car. So, I currently, when I moved to Seattle, I had an old Camry that valiantly gave its life so I could move. I wrote a eulogy for it. I loved this car.
Wait, you're saying a Camry died?
Yeah, for me.
That's fucking...
Yeah, no, it literally had one trip left in it. It made it from Idaho to Seattle and then never started again the day that I moved.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive you killed it. I mean,
it was.
Yeah,
it was
I've never heard of
I bought
anybody
it for
killing a Camry.
$600. It was the worst condition vehicle I have ever owned. Now,
that's pretty cheap.
It was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I've owned $600 cars before, and they were all much nicer than this one. It was rough.
All right.
So
That's a good one. American Southwest.
Yeah, big Cadillac.
Derek Yegan has a good one. Planes, trains, and automobiles. Do you have a favorite from each category? So, favorite way to travel. I think he's asking to choose a plane, choose a train, and choose a car, if I read that correctly.
Okay. Yeah, plane would be. It's cliche, but like the 747 is just the most beautiful.
They are pretty good.
I mean, I've seen them. I think is the thing. Like there are other planes. Like I have a MiG-15 tattooed on my leg.
Like a fighter plane?
Yeah.
Oh,
but like, so like, there's a bunch of planes I really like, but like the ones that I've seen, the ones that like strike on to me, like 747 has got to be just like I love seeing those things. And then train would be, there's none in existence, but the Pennsylvania T1, which was designed by Raymond Loewy. It was probably the fastest steam locomotive ever built.
I used to be when I was a little kid. Big train nerd.
Oh, yeah, I never ended that.
Big train nerd, yeah.
I went from the Thomas trains to like, I had an actual layout.
I had the LGB.
Oh,
the big
yeah.
ones. Oh wow! Look at that. Is that it?
Yeah, that's the T1.
Ooh, that looks like Raymond Loewy.
Yeah, it was absolutely like
That's some like real sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
From was this 40s?
This came out in like the late 30s, I
This
think.
is great for Snow. Was it Snowpiercer? That movie on the
Oh,
train?
yeah.
That's a streamliner train.
Yeah, no, and it was Art Deco as all get out.
And he still exist?
No, Pennsylvania scrapped all of them. That place is trying to like build one from spec.
Oh, what a shame.
I know it upsets me immensely. If you want to count ones that are existing, the Daylight, which is I think it's 484, the Southern Pacific Daylight. That's another one that like exists. It runs. You can go see it. I went and saw it in Portland recently.
Huh? Does it do anything? Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, no, it runs. Yeah,
look at that.
484.
Oh, that's fantastic. That looks great.
Yeah, and they have it in fully restored condition. They do excursions occasionally with it.
Colors look like a fucking old Bronco.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful. And they had, in its heyday, they had like a whole mesh train set for it.
And the front of it is lights?
Yeah.
It looks like an old TV camera. Is it supposed to be an old TV camera?
Nope, just big lights.
It just rules.
Yeah. So that's like a favorite one that's probably like
so pretty.
Still kicking around.
Yeah. I want to go on the old Bugatti train.
Remember
the Etoile Bugatti train.
Yes.
That they use the Royale engines to fucking power. Wow, that is a very pretty train.
Yes. So that's that. And then car.
That's like a mid-mod train. It's mid-century modern vibe.
Yeah. Those are beautiful. And then car. It's so hard.
Have you ever been on like proper high-speed rail?
No.
It's a pretty good time.
So actually, interestingly, I went to Toronto for a weekend as a kid, but I've never left America. So I'm hoping this year that I will get to travel some more outside of the U.S.
The move, you go to London, you take the Eurostar to Paris, then you take the TGV to fucking
my
Nice.
God.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That shit's fast. They put the speedometer up there, 260K. You're moving.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, that would be cool. Or like Shinkansen in Japan.
Yeah,
would be
Japan,
really cool because
obviously.
I do have a
original.
thing for Japanese cars.
Yeah. Those trains are kick-ass.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful.
Maybe one day we can have nice things here too. But
And in the meantime, we have to deal with Bright Line.
we did when I was going to school in Philly. We had the Acela, which would do like 120.
Yeah, that's
regional high speed.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool better than the New Jersey Turnpike, but only marginally.
Favorite car still. I have to.
Oh yeah.
Lancia Delta Integrale Evo 1.
Great choice. Okay. Same person. I forget who wrote this. Derek.
Yeah.
One of my friends in the queer community goes by Victory instead of Victoria because all she does is win. That's all right. How did you land on Victoria? And do you have any advice to those trying to embody their new or developing identities?
So for me, Victoria was a name that I had always really liked, and every shortened form of it, like Vicky or Tori, I still really like. Because I thought about a couple other names where I couldn't stand the shortened version. Like Elizabeth is cool, but like I couldn't be a Liz, right? That wouldn't work for me.
What about a Beth?
No.
Beth isn't great.
No, it's not. It's just So like that was it's something where it's like that was a fun aspect of it. My middle name is Penelope, which is actually I watched the Wacky Races a ton as a kid on like Hanna-Barbera repeats, and she was like the first woman in any kind of motorsport I ever knew about because I was like 6.
Yeah, you didn't know about like Michelle Mouton.
No, I was 6, and like my parents didn't get me into Group B at a young enough age, which is why I just review cars. I don't race them. But
the cluggage was taken.
But yeah, so that one was kind of fun, right? Like that
Yeah.
was I think that was just kind of like an enjoyable, like it felt like a lighthearted kind of name. So like that was fun for it. And as far as advice, I don't know. I have gotten incredibly far by being very genuine. There's not really much else to me beyond what you're seeing now. Like I really love cars. I do really enjoy being myself. Like I have a car this week that matches this color. Not the Nismo.
one you're driving.
No, it's a different one that I'm doing for a video for us. But like I got
Matches
my
that
nails
color.
done.
Is it the Mercedes SL63?
No.
That one I have was that color.
No.
Is it new car, old car?
Old.
Oh, it's an old car. Oh, okay.
C706?
No, think older.
C606 is what I meant to say. But
Oh, is it Alana Shear's Opal?
No, but I
Okay.
want to drive that really bad.
I
It's
think
yellow.
hers is
It's
one.
yellow. Is that yellow? It's
Yeah,
yellow,
it's
right?
yellow,
very
yeah.
yellow.
I'm colorblind, so.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't-
Yeah, no, it's like a same color as my blouse, which is also bright yellow.
I
Wait, is
figured,
it the
but
Delta Integrale that's yellow that's in town?
No, I wish.
Oh, yeah.
because someone
There is-
has one
there-
that go to Good Vibes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's rad.
Are you gonna go up? You gonna be up the hill on Friday?
I'll probably be filming, so
Will
I
be-
may or may not. I'm not sure yet. I don't know
We'll
where.
be on the mountain on Friday.
That'll be cool. I've been up there once, and it was really cool.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that AMG GT outside.
Okay.
Which is strangely much better than the SL on which it's based. We didn't like the SL at all. This
Okay.
seems actually quite nice. And Zach has the last Alfa Romeo press car in the country.
Literally, it goes after I'm done with it. They send it back to Detroit.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
for real.
really?
It's a 9,000 mile Giulia quad.
It's green.
It's a great color.
I don't know if I want I love that car so much.
Oh, by the way,
It's
they
so
told me
pretty.
when they dropped it off this morning that you did not fill out the digital loan agreement.
I did it online.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Will they notice if you just keep it? I mean, if they're getting rid of it anyway.
Probably
like,
not.
Probably not.
Just keep it.
I'll buy it used.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so pretty.
Yeah. They'll be like, we're here to get the car. You'll be like, what car? Don't know anything.
There's no press fleet left.
Turn
I
it
was
into a
filming-
long termer.
Yeah.
We'll give it more press.
I was filming a different car on the hill last week, and I saw 2 young people mobbing the shit out of that green Alpha, fucking blowing by me like 3 or 4
we
times.
know someone. They had it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think Chris had it 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And put a video up of it. Like,
Put a video up he
Street
should not
drifting.
have put up.
Right.
Yeah. Ryan says, are you garbage if you constantly adjust fan speed on the HVAC rather than just using the auto
I do
function?
that all the time.
Hannah does it all the time,
All the
too.
time.
Yeah,
No,
I don't
need
think you're garbage.
I want a slider. I don't even want to know what the temperature is. There's a red
Yeah.
side and there's a blue side, and
Yeah.
let me play with it.
Peak HVAC was Ford in the 90s. 3 knobs, a red and a blue,
Yeah.
a 1 through 5, and then floor, dash, defroster, AC, max.
Yep.
That's peak HVAC. Charlie says, if reliability was not an issue, what's the craziest thing you would daily drive? Ferrari 355 GTS.
Probably the Lancia.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that's. I think that's the only reason I don't haven't gotten an Italian car at this point is just because of reliability, and
Yeah. Here's a question from Dennis. How would one get into writing about cars and getting credentials for being an official automotive journalist? Does it require to have an actual car to review and then write about it and send to websites? Would they read it and maybe accept it or et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. I would say, so how I started with this, because I have no actual credentials, right? I have a computer science degree, and my photography is all self-taught. I have no formal journalism background whatsoever. What I did was
nobody does.
I know. I realized that once I got into it, but everybody thinks that
people are like, do I have to get a journalism degree? Like, no, don't waste your fucking time, bro.
They're like, oh, they must have accredited degrees in automotive journalism, and they must be and it's like, no, I'm not at all like that. So what I did was I wrote a bunch of stories for my own personal blog, and I did a podcast of my own when I first started getting into this, and I was posting on Twitter a bunch about cars. I was sharing a bunch of stuff. I generated a lot. I took a ton of pictures and I curated them, and I did reviews and stuff Speed Hunters-esque kind of style stuff. And eventually, the right person noticed. I started working for Mike Balaban, actually, back at Jalopnik when he was there.
Yeah.
I did weekends for them the week the pandemic began.
Nice.
So I wrote about GM is turning their factory into a ventilator plant. Like,
How'd that go?
but like those couple.
You got into this because you love cars and it was like, car production ceases worldwide.
Yeah.
Press cars unavailable forever.
Yeah. So just.
I mean, that's a pretty good strategy. My answer when people ask me this is you do things by doing things.
Yeah.
And so if you want to write about cars, start fucking writing about cars. If you want to take pictures of cars, do that. If you want to do a podcast, do that. You want to make videos, grab a camera.
Yeah.
And just do it and make yourself visible to the people that might see you.
Yeah.
And
have a portfolio going, get your own site going. It's easy.
Yeah.
Like I've written a bunch of books before. I've published 2 through Carrera, and but those were all like ebooks. I just did them online. I did them sold for $1 on Gumroad or whatever. So just make stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's it. You do it by doing it, and you got to do it for a while as if you're never going to make money. And if you're good at it and consistent, then eventually you will make a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And then you have to have like a side real job to pay your fucking bills, even if you're me in the back. Haley says, top 5 best cars to drive in a Pride parade. It is Pride Month, isn't it?
It is, yes.
It is Pride Month.
Volkswagen New Beetle. That was the first car I ever loved.
Fucking
That
with a
Oh
vase.
yeah. And I'm like 3 years old, and the New Beetle just dropped, and I'm like obsessed. I had a million toys of it. I had like posters of it. I had a New Beetle cup racing poster on my wall, and my parents were like,
Beetle
"Oh,
cup.
this kid's straight and
Yeah.
cisgender." It's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So
Our son
But-
really likes the yellow New Beetle.
You know who is trying to make like a Beetle Cup is Matt Crook.
Matt Crook, yeah.
Yeah.
those things are so cool.
He has the full body kit
Yeah.
from the race car.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's gonna
god.
be cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
He did not like me making fun of him for that car. He very vigorously defended it.
Yeah. He should. It's the correct vehicle. So Beetle.
That and 4 Subaru Outbacks, really. Our very stylish gay neighbors whose wedding I went to 2 weeks ago, they had
Oh.
at their home, it was amazing, have what is a fucking superb 3-car LA car collection.
Okay.
They've got a Q8 e-tron
Okay.
daily, a 992 Carrera S, and like a late 60s yellow Volkswagen Beetle with a roof rack and fitted luggage.
Oh my god.
It's like the perfect, and they live in like this exceptional mid-century, perfectly restored.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
there's the other 3.
All 3 of them. Yeah, pretty much. Who else has? What is another good one?
Also, can I just say
Harlequin.
hi to
Volkswagen Harlequin.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
fucking rainbow.
Yeah. Also, I will just say hi to Byron if that's cool. And
Who to Myron?
Oh,
Yeah, of
Myron
course.
Vertus. Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to him.
Yeah.
Bring a cool outfit next time you're in Ohio. We'll celebrate by taking another wacky car out.
Yeah,
what did you take out last time?
We took his 1971 George Barris Bugazzi to Swenson's to get drive-in. He let me drive it there.
I don't even know if I know what that is.
They wrote a story about it. It's like it's longer than a Lincoln Navigator. It's a coupe. It's got a TV in the center console. It's got matching shot glasses for the back seat.
Wait, what is it?
George Barris.
Just do Bugazzi.
Bugazi.
2 Z's.
Yeah,
that's my review.
yeah,
The
that
first one.
sounds- that
well, it's
sounds
not the pictures
right.
of it, but yeah, there we go.
I fucking hate George Barris.
Oh yeah,
cars.
no, it was so
I know,
funny.
I know he's iconic, but
kinda
and
like
there was,
this.
they're of a time.
I think this
but
is my
just
second favorite
hate
Barris
everything
car.
he made.
But this
let's see
this
another
looks
angle.
like it could
Yeah,
be
go
made
down.
in a movie for like the mob kingpin or something. Or
Oh my god, the
it's loading.
drive is loading like shit.
Sorry. I don't. Well,
don't-
I'm
you don't
apologizing.
like
It's
your
not my fault anymore.
Geez, this is
What the fuck? Do we have to reset our router here or something?
no,
The
no,
drive
this is not our problem.
our internet is good.
Let me.
We have the super internet here.
It should. Yeah. If you Google it, there's also like.
There's someone else has taken a
I-
picture.
no,
Your
they
photo
actually
was-
haven't.
Your photo was fantastic.
Thank you.
That lead photo was great.
There's-
Yeah, there are some other pictures.
Okay. Yeah. These are in
Oh
era.
boy, look at that thing.
It had like genuine ivory door handles that looked like towel racks.
Dude, if you sold Quaaludes in the 70s, this
Yeah.
is your car.
Yeah.
I'm just
are those
saying.
side pipes real? They're not.
They're
Are
not
they?
No.
functional. There's no way.
Yeah.
No.
Is there an interior shot? Can we at least
I
see?
took some, which should be in there.
That's not it, is it?
No.
The
The
center
profile
shot
of
there?
this
That's
thing.
not it, right?
Oh yeah, that's
That's it?
Yeah, it's got the Persian rug carpets. That's correct.
Oh wait, is that the TV on a stand
Yeah.
for the passenger?
Yeah, it was
It's
for
on
the driver, actually.
Oh,
It's
boy.
hinged towards the driver.
It's aimed at the driver.
Yeah.
Habibi, that's a
It's
little
like a cockpit,
That's a
right?
little much.
Yeah, it also
Yeah.
had mirrors mounted on the inside walls of the back, so you could
Vertical
It was-
or horizontal? They fold down?
No, they were mounted at such an angle that if you're like doing stuff in the back seat, you can.
They're sex mirrors.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
sex mirrors.
Not
Oh,
Coke
I
mirrors.
thought they were Coke mirrors.
Understandable mistake. In the 70s,
right.
it could
Yeah.
go either way.
Oh, our Bentley has sex mirrors too.
It
It
does.
does. Yeah, yeah. They're all right. They're better than Coke mirrors. Coke mirrors are like a little much.
Yeah.
I
Got
mean,
marble door panels.
some fucking
What?
old guy will write a nasty comment on this podcast because I said it, but I fucking hate George Barris cars.
Well, I will say,
He stinks.
I reviewed this when I went out to see Myron
Pull up
last
the
time.
interior though with the TV. The TV on the little arm is really funny. I don't hate the Persian rug.
No, I mean the thing that's funny about it is like you literally can't tell what lane you're in when you're driving it. I expect that like it's driving it is kind of like what Quaaludes felt like, where it's just like, oh man, I don't care. I'm
They'll
on
get out
the
of-
road. Maybe
Don't get out of my way.
I'll feel the sidewalk when I hit it.
maybe.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't feel a pedestrian.
No.
It would probably.
This is
like-
why cars like my grandfather's kind of like had curb feelers, and I think it's because otherwise you wouldn't feel the curb when you hit it
Yeah.
'cause it's so soft.
I saw a car with curb feelers like a week ago.
The
They're out
thing,
there.
the thing that was funny is like we went to go to get Swenson's in it, which is like the drive-in burger chain in
Yeah.
Ohio. Literally every single person we saw was like, "Oh hell yeah, sweet! I love that thing."
You're
It
the
was-
king of Ohio.
Yeah.
In that car.
I mean, it looks insane.
It was so good.
In LA, they'll look at you like you have 3 heads, but in Ohio, you run shit in that car.
What is it based on? El Dorado?
No, it's based on a Lincoln
Mark
fi-
4 or 5?
Yeah, one of
And
those.
this thing must be 40 feet long.
But it's
It's-
not. It's not any longer than the regular Lincoln.
It's
barely.
No, it's longer.
Is it
No, they
longer?
added. It's like
This looks like additional.
it's got like a
look
car
at-
cod piece on the front end,
Yeah,
so
it
it's
does.
like
Yeah.
adds another 7
Yeah.
inches or
Yeah,
something.
the grill looks like it's 6 inches
Yeah.
deep.
You know that you're
Yeah.
right. In the angle we were looking at before, it didn't.
No,
look
it's
longer.
it's like it was. I wrote it like
My
the-
friend's dad had a Mark 5. It was gigantic, but this actually is bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the story was really fun to write because it's just like
Did this work?
I guess they just don't.
The drive. Get your fucking shit together with these images, Habibi.
They're gone.
It was a very fun story because the car is so absurd. I think they made
yeah.
12 or something. So
They
it
made
was-
12 of those.
I thought it was a one-off.
I thought that was a one of one.
No, it was on the cover of Rolling Stone. The most
That one,
famous.
the Thunderbird, is actually much better. I mean, it's equally dumb, but at least it doesn't have shit like glued on it.
The most famous owner of the Bugatti, who actually was featured on the cover of Rolling Stone. I know this because Myron showed me his. He has like a big stack of paperwork, and this is one of the pieces of paperwork. It
Oh my
was
god, I'd
Joe.
love to see his service records
Oh
for
my-
the fucking Bugatti. That's hilarious.
It was Joe Conforte, who was the guy who made prostitution legal in Nevada.
Of course,
That was
it
his that was his like daily drive. There's
course
a
it
picture of
was.
him on the cover of Rolling Stone with like 2 of his employees,
Yeah.
like sprawled on the hood of his,
Yes.
35-foot
a
long car.
pro-prostitution lobbyist. That is the perfect customer for this car, which circles right back. Would you like to read some Google reviews for a brothel? Because we did that last show. That's how we ended up with Sloppy Toppy 5000.
review everything.
I believe
Under
it,
their
yeah.
real names.
I mean, I live here in Reno, so like I'm familiar with
Yeah.
the
People
concept
like
of it.
fucking George Smith is like, Air Force Amy was awesome. Like, people review shit on Google as if people
But the
can't
reviews
find it.
are really friendly. Like they're not graphic. They're just like wonderful
The
time.
first page.
Kind person.
Yeah.
That's true. We didn't go to
we
page
didn't
2.
We didn't scroll down to the depths of it.
that's
We'll
fair.
have to do that later. Thanks, Victoria. We Deserve This is
Yes.
available.
You can get it on Carrera Books. You can get it through bookshop.org, I believe.
Yeah, that's where I like to get books.
Yeah, so we have it.
Yeah.
You can get it through Indy stores. You can choose which one you want it at. I personally like Elliott Bay in Seattle because that's my local store.
Can you go to an
and
indie
then-
bookstore and have them order it for you?
Yeah,
Okay,
you can get it
cool.
at Barnes & Noble, and you can also order it on Amazon. So any of those places. The official launch day when people will be getting all of their copies is June 24th.
Oh.
But some people have them because we've had to stagger stuff.
Well, when does this go up? Tuesday?
Yes. Next Tuesday.
Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be pretty close.
Yeah.
That'll be the 24th.
Oh, sweet. Well then,
Is it?
maybe the
the
25th.
Listeners of the future, it has been launch day.
It's within a day. Thank you for this copy.
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate it. It will go in our proud collection of car books here at Westside Collector Car Storage.
Thank you.
Why are you in town actually? Not just for this.
No, I've got a couple of stories I'm working on for like historical coverage for Motor One, which is my day job. So I've been recording some videos this week as well.
Cool.
So I needed cars that are only in LA.
Well, we have a lot of them.
Yeah.
Come to the mountain on Friday if you can. If you have to work, that's okay too. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the books.
Thank you so much for having me. I really had a good time.
Yeah, and thank you to our patrons for asking such good questions today. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you later. Bye.